What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, as I usually do whenever there's a new set or new reward cards or mini set, whatever it is released, I try to put together a series focusing in on the cards, doing a deep dive into the stats. And I know that these have been out on on the Mav server for a while, but there's probably been some updates and balancing that the team has done, which is why I haven't really talked about it. I haven't really looked at it, and I figured I would do this. I would do this starting today, which is Friday, so just a couple of days before this actually goes live. Now, this is going to be the fire video, and I will just follow along and do one for each splinter because I don't want to make like an hour-long video at this point. So it allows me to just focus in on a specific splinter, do a little deep dive on all the cards, and then move on to the next one. So we'll do fire, water, earth, death, life, or whatever. I'll go in some specific order. But let's go ahead and start with the summoners because I think that this is going to be very interesting. We have technically 3 fire summoners, right? So you have your common summoners that are paired with other elements. So for example, here you have the fire and earth, which is Brewmaster Abraxas. And you have, well, let's go back there. And you have Dolphar Darflak. These names are getting out there, but which is death and fire. So I'm not going to go into the specific combos that you might get for that. I think it'll be really interesting, but I haven't had a chance to really sit down with the cards, both in Rebellion as well as in Chaos Legion. So let's go to the Tactic Summoner, which is the rare summoner. Everybody's going to get a copy of this in terms of it being a starter card, but that is Nomos. And so you have the option now with Tactics to give 2 magic units -2, or 2 units -2 magic, or you can give the Dispel ability to 2 units. Now, I looked at this, and this wasn't necessarily my favorite summoner of the bunch. The Dispel kind of leaves a lot to be desired, but the -2 magic to 2 units I think could be very, very awesome in many specific cases, namely the the magic only rule set, where you can essentially nerf -2 magic on very powerful opponents. So Nomos I think is cool, but I really feel like there's only one use case, right? The -2 magic that I would be reaching for this summoner for. Now, granted, maybe in some kind of like gladiator rule set or in brawls, it would make sense to throw a bunch of Dispel out there if you're expecting a ton of if you're expecting a ton of bloodlust or weapons training or something. But at the end of the day, like, Dispel is cool, but I never reach for that ability. Like, I never need to make sure someone on my team has it. Now, that could potentially change with Rebellion, and once we see what the new meta is like. But overall, the thing that I really like this card for, Nomos, is the -2 magic in those specific magic-only rule sets. Okay, let's start actually at the bottom and work our way up. So we're going to go with the commons here, and let's just go with units. So you got 4 units here. Go Balano Soldier. I think this was revealed by Bulldog, so we're not going to spend too much time on it. What I really like about the card is the fact that it has the new ability, Ambush. You get that at level 1 along with Sneak, so this guy is immediately going to be doing damage before the game even starts. Where he gets interesting is at maxed for silver, you get the Shatter ability. So now the beautiful thing is you're able to get, an attack off before things start, right? And then you're going to have somebody with a 4 speed do a sneak attack again. So basically in the first turn, if somebody has, a person with a lot of armor, you could still get damage done with a melee attack, because that first ambush turn, you are essentially, removing the armor, and then you go at a pretty decent speed, right? 4, and again, you could pair him with someone like Yasik to get that speed up to 6, and you get an interesting, common card here, Sneak Attacker, that I think is going to be very, very powerful, especially compared to a lot of the other sneak attackers out there. When you get to the highest levels, really the only thing that changes is the amount of health as well as the attack. So you're going to get the 3 attack at max level, but only 5 health. So something to keep in mind if you want to keep them with a lower attack at level 9, but a health of 6. So that could be an interesting little play there. Okay, let's go back and pull up the next one, Nimble Duke Scout. And this card is a 2-mana card. So each of the elements has a 2-mana non-attack card. Now, what's really cool about this is that it has backfire at the base level, right? So at level 1, backfire with a speed of 4, health of 3. Now, this becomes a really interesting support card, especially for Fire with Tarsa and other melee and Inspire units, because it gives you Inspire at level 5, which is maxed for Silver. At max for Gold, the speed jumps up to 6, health at 7. I mean, it's not only a meat shield, but if it misses, it's doing damage, and if you pair weapons training, it's it can do even more damage, not to mention it's supporting other cards with Inspire. And then, at the highest levels, at max level, you get the blast ability. So, I'm immediately thinking about someone like Phyrexian Hero or one of the other I think it's Phyrexian Hero, basically the reach monster that gives weapon training for the Fire rewards card, Soulbound reward card. So, immediately this is going to have a lot of benefits maxed out. You're going to get that speed of 6, right? The blast ability. And what's interesting here, once again, you see at level 9, so not max, you get a faster speed and a faster and more health, but you don't get the blast ability. So I wonder if people are going to have to make a decision on that, and maybe you just kind of avoid spending that extra 100 BCX in order to max it out. Okay, Kazi Fire Mage. I hope I'm saying that right. Kazi Fire Mage. All right, so here's an interesting potential back tank. 4 mana. I really like it for that. At the base level, you get the dodge ability, which again is, like I said, fantastic for like a back tank. Now, Scattershot, not my favorite. It's a little slow. It only does 1 magic damage and it has a health of 3. So this is a card I can see myself not really using a lot. Now, you pair it up at level 5, or I guess at level 5, nothing really changes. You have a faster speed and more health, but that's really it. Now, in gold, you do get the Fury ability, which kind of like, again, Fury with Scattershot just doesn't really make much sense to me. Like, you want to throw Fury in because if you're expecting a taunt monster, you want to be able to fire, you want to be able to do double damage to it. But if you have Scattershot, then it's just like it's firing anywhere. So these two abilities don't seem to go well together, in my opinion, but it is what it is. Now, the speed does get faster at max for gold. You do go up to 5, but once again, right, between maxed, fully maxed, and then like level 9, you have to make a choice. Do you want the speed of 5 versus the attack of 2? I don't really care because I don't think I'm going to be using this card much. But if you do, let me know. All right, and then the final one here for commons is Chaos Orc. So you have at the base level 6 mana, 2 damage, 3 speed, 2 armor, 5 health. It does have the Pierce ability at the lowest levels, and it makes for a decent kind of like tank in bronze or novice. Now, once you get to level or max for silver, which is level 5, you get a 3rd attack. Right, speed remains the same, health does increase by 1, but you get the trample ability. And I think that this could really be valuable when you have other cards with Inspire, similar to what we just looked at, right? And there's multiple cards with Inspire across the game, so that all of a sudden this guy could be doing like 4 damage, right? 4 damage or 5 damage potentially if you can swing it. Again, also including like Tarsa. So I kind of like this tank. It's not like super fast. Obviously, when you get to the higher levels, so max for gold, it has an extra attack, it has an extra speed at 4 armor, 6 health, and then all the way fully maxed out, you're going to get 2 additional health. So it's a decent tank. It's got Pierce and Trample, 2 things that I really like, which is one of the reasons that I liked Desert Dragon, right? And it's cheaper than Desert Dragon with armor and speed. Well, actually, I think Desert Dragon has armor too, but makes for an interesting tank in many or certain situations. Again, another place that I would probably end up playing this is not as an actual tank, but if there's a melee mayhem or opportunity, that Pierce and decent speed is going to come in relatively handy. Not to mention, the trample is going to tear up the back line, especially in an opportunity rule set. So this is probably one of my favorite of the common cards. Probably this and then the Nimble Duke Scout. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I really like Chaos Orc, Nimble Duke, and Balano. They're all like really good. So I'm just hating on Kazi Fire Mage at this point. Okay, let's jump up to rares. You got 4 of them here, not including the Summoner. So we have we have a ranged unit here. Now, this is an interesting one. It's 8 mana, which is quite expensive. It only does 1 damage, 4 speed at the base level, 2 armor, 7 health. It comes with close range, so it can fire from the first spot. You can essentially use it as a tank, and then flank. So I think that's kind of the point. If you want to have some kind of non-melee tank, you can throw this guy into the mix, still productive, still attacking with a decent speed, but then you can hide essentially a melee monster that doesn't have the reach ability in the second spot. And I think that, that's probably where this card is going to come in the most handy. Now, who would you pair it with? Would it work well? It's not like he makes a great tank. Yeah, 2 armor is cool, but 8 mana is a lot. So that's, it's not really my personal favorite. Now, when you get into maxed for gold, this does get interesting. You get a second damage here, but the ability Shatter is probably where this thing will start to shine, because with a speed of 5, you're going to put this dude in the front, right? They'll probably fire before most other monsters, hit with Shatter, and then let's say you throw like Grum in the back, right? Or even better, you throw what's that called? Grund, right? With the D, which has the 2 melee attacks. You play the Fire and Earth Summoner together, and you can pair up these cards. So now all of a sudden, this guy's going before Grund, doing 2 damage and taking out any kind of armor, and then you got Grund with the double strike coming in from the back. At the max level, you do get more health as well as a 3rd damage along with 6 speed. So, at the lower levels may not make a lot of sense, but at the higher levels, I can see certain instances where it would come in handy. 8 mana is still a lot though, but I guess you do get a good amount, and if you pair it well with certain other units. Okay, we have another ranged unit. This one is the Flame Mephit. 2 mana, does 1 damage, 2 speed, 2 health. It does have flying. So this is the stats, or these are the stats at the base level. At max for silver, you get an extra attack, you get an extra speed, extra health. Now at the higher levels, once you get into gold, you do get the backfire ability, which again makes for potentially an interesting back tank, especially because it's low mana, right? So 2 mana, you just need someone in there. It's almost like what's her name? Naga Assassin, right? Just throw them in the back. Hope that you can dodge one of the attacks with a decent speed. And again, 3 speed is not very much at gold. You do get up to 4 speed at the higher levels, or at max. But again, you pair this up with someone like Yasik, where you get +2 speed there. Or maybe you throw it in front of, what's her name? Countess Sinesh, right? So get an extra speed there, or maybe both. And it could start to look interesting just from a speed dynamic. So I do like this card a lot. I think, anything with low mana that you can just kind of fit somewhere can do decent damage, and then of course actually be almost like a defensive damage unit with backfire is a lot of fun. Okay, let's go on to this melee monster, Torch Vizier, melee unit. Now here is a 5 mana, almost kind of reminded me a little bit of like a Deep Lurker type of thing, where you got the opportunity ability at the lowest levels. So speed of 4 is pretty good. Damage of 2, mana is 5, health is 4. Now, when you max this for silver, actually, in bronze, you get that 3rd attack, which is great. But when you max for silver, you get that extra health, extra speed, or not extra speed, but the extra attack, and you also get Reflection Shield. So this is actually very powerful, in my opinion, because it's almost like a budget fire Rooney. You're getting someone who is actually fast, can do damage from any position, and you can put them up against, like a taunt monster, or put them next to a taunt monster to avoid any kind of blast damage. Not only that, Reflection Shield is also great for any kind of Thorns rule sets. So this is a card that I think is going to be a force to reckon with. Now, at the higher levels, right, or max, I guess we can just say maxed out fully, you do get 5 damage for 5 mana at a speed of 4. So it doesn't have the slew of abilities that something like, Rooney has, or Deep Lurker, but 5 mana, 5 damage, and, throw it in like an Enraged rule set, and this thing's going to start to tear people up. So, I'm a fan of this card. I think that this is going to be just another kind of Deep Lurker, Rooney-esque opportunity card, and it has the Reflection Shield ability, which I think pairs very nicely with opportunity cards. Okay, and then the 4th and final, rare card, which is another range card. 5 mana at the lowest levels, 2 damage, 2 speed, scatter shot, so not my favorite already, and then 4 health. Now, at the max for bronze, so if you just get this to level 2, it does get True Strike, so you know that at least it's going to hit every turn. It doesn't get much faster. I guess when you go to max for silver, same speed, same attack, more health. When you go max for gold, you do get an additional attack, an additional speed. So, you know, 3 damage for 5 mana. And then at the highest levels, you get that additional health. So it's at 7 health with a press. Now, once again, a press is something that I would want to put in simply because I know that they're going to use weapons training, or they're going to use like a Bakjira type situation, or whatever the case is. I want to be able to target it. So pairing a press with Scattershot just doesn't make sense in my opinion. Yes, True Strike, cool, sure, but this isn't fast, right? And it doesn't do as much damage for 5 mana. I just feel like there are better options out there. If I want a 5 mana range attacker, I would do someone like Bloodmaker, right? That dude is super fast with Scattershot. So, granted, it's not guaranteed he's going to hit, but at the end of the day, I just feel like that card is going to be better or more utilized than this. Okay, let's go on to the epic cards. There are 2 of them. First one is Dolphin Ironhood. Now, this card, 7 mana, 2 damage, 2 range damage, 3 speed, 4 armor, 5 health. This is a card that comes with weapons training off the back. So, I already like it. I think it's interesting. We looked at some other, like the Nimble Duke for 2 mana. That would be a perfect fit with something like this. Venari Heatsmith might be another perfect fit for something like this, right? So you get that weapons training off the bat. At level 3, which is max for silver, you got 2 additional armor as well as the immunity ability. So here is someone who might be interesting to play behind, what's his name? The Forgotten One, right, in Poison rule sets. And then at the highest levels, right, you get, it's just going to be 3 damage for 7 mana, 4 speed, good amount of armor and health, and then you get the redemption ability. Now, I love playing the redemption game in in the fire element, so I kind of like it just for that, but it's still a little too expensive in my opinion. Now, the fun thing is that you could pair, if you're doing like the redemption play, you could pair him with that was like taunt monster, with the soulbound taunt monster, where now that taunt monster will be able to do some damage. They both have redemption, and again, it just makes the redemption play really fun. All right, going on to the other one. Let's see, where is it? All right, so Infernal Firestorm. Here is a giant 10 mana at the lowest levels, 2 magic, 3 speed, 5 armor, 9 health. It does come with the flank ability. So again, someone else that has the the ability to put Grund or Grum Flameblade or someone in the secondary spot. Again, is it a great tank? Not really, in my opinion. Like it's not really protecting against much. If anything, it is susceptible to Giant Killer, and it's only doing 2 damage, right? So obviously, when you get it at the highest levels, when you get it max for silver, you're doing 3 damage, but 10 mana is a lot. And then when you get it to the max level, it's a decent meat shield, right? It's a decent meat shield, and you can use Demoralize. I just personally don't see myself running to this. Now, granted, we don't really know what the meta is going to be like, so maybe that changes. But right now, with the cards that I do know and that I do run to, this just doesn't seem like a card that I would want to utilize in the tank position unless there was some other reason for it. Okay, and finally, let's get into the legendary. All right, so the first is going to be Chaos Golem. This thing looks like an absolute unit. 9 mana, 3 melee damage, 3 speed, 4 armor, 10 health, and it does have Return Fire at the lowest levels. At silver, you get an additional attack, so it goes from 3 to 4, but not only that, you get the Enrage ability, which is fantastic for melee units. So now all of a sudden, he's getting hit, and boom, he's doing 6 damage per turn. At gold, you get an additional health, but you also get the Retaliate ability. Another fantastic one for melee units, specifically melee tanks. And then at max, you get that 5th and final attack. Again, with range, he's doing 8 damage that could be retaliated or just done on a regular turn. Not to mention, I think I might have forgot at the beginning, you do get return fire. So this is a card in a tank that I would probably run to whenever there is a non-magic game. So I really like the ability set that it has. It is a little expensive at 9 mana, but it is not susceptible to Giant Killer. And so I just think that, if you can get this thing to silver, it's already going to start to cause a lot of havoc there, right? Because it's just a great kind of defensive unit, and then the Enrage makes it a great offensive unit. And then to add on to that defense, you got Retaliate at the end. So yeah, probably one of the better legendary cards out there. All right, final one, Rush Townsend. We have a 9 mana range card. So you're doing right off the bat 4 damage, right? 4 speed, only 1 armor and 4 health. So very weak and susceptible, but you get an additional attack during the ambush round. So with 4 speed, you're gonna get the ambush as well as affliction ability. It's not attacking anybody specifically, so it'll probably go towards the main tank or any kind of taunt monster, which is great, which is paired up with affliction. So you may even be able to stick the affliction before the game actually starts, before round 1. Now at level 2, you get an additional speed as well as additional attack. So you got 5 attack, 5 speed, and again, that ambush round I think is going to be really important. Keep in mind, it does become a little ineffective against force field, but at the end of the day, who doesn't want 5 damage over 4? Now, at the level, or at gold level, max for gold level, which is level 3, that's where this thing really gets interesting, because now you have an additional speed, right? So now it's going at speed of 6. Before the game starts, it has Pierce with a damage of 5. So this thing could take out somebody, especially in an opportunity rule set. This card could be taking, a card out before the game even starts, especially if it's a smaller card, hits its shot, game over. And then, of course, at the highest levels, you got an additional armor, and then it becomes a fantastic support card with Amplify. So the fire element bringing in a lot of fantastic firepower, pun intended, at the higher levels, even at the lower levels too. There's a lot of cards I really like here. So I'll go ahead and cut this video here. We'll jump into the other splinters, or other elements, I should say, in other videos. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think of fire overall? I already have a ton of fun playing with them, and I think a lot of the cards here are only going to add to that enjoyment. That is all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.